guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Jenna.
And I'm your host, Holly, aka Krampus today.
Yes, if you can't tell, I'm Christmas, and Holly is Yule.
Or Satan.
And if you guys can't tell, if you're not watching the visual version, Holly and I are in the same place together today. Yes. We're at my house. She's come and invaded.
I have. I found out where Jenna lived, and I came here because I am a dark beast of the nether realm, and I was like, hello, we are recording here today.
Yes, I've been held captive. Please call the police.
You don't want to know what we got up to last night, but we might tell you.
Yes, so we're going to be comparing today some Yule versus Christmas traditions, things that were stolen from, you know, the pagan traditions and taken into Yule for those who don't know. And then we're going to be talking about our ghost cryptid experiences yesterday, because we had like 11 hours together of craziness across LA. Queen Mary, Museum of Death, and Black Star Canyon, which we talked about in a previous episode.
Yeah.
So we'll get to those to the end, and we'll also show you guys some of the footage, if you're watching on the visual version, for the things that we captured.
And if you are not watching, head on over to YouTube, because you're going to see some interesting things, I think.
Yeah. Hoping. We haven't got through the footage yet, but yeah. Editing versions of us will.
We're leaving that for those people.
Yeah, they can
those people. Yeah. But we do know what we experienced. There were some interesting experiences.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think we should probably start with the Yule and Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
And then get into the spooky. So, we'll save that for a little bit later.
Yeah, you have to wait. Tease me for now. Well, when it comes to Yule traditions, I know a bunch of them were taken by, you know, the Christian church and everything. Mm-hmm. A lot of, if you look at original Catholicism, is heavily ritualistic because it came from pagan roots. And they, you know, forcibly, most of the time, indoctrinated and converted people across everywhere from the Middle East up through Europe in the earlier days, and then eventually did it everywhere.
They covered everything. They covered all of their bases.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I guess we'll just go back and forth naming things that we know were taken.
Yeah, I had some notes. If, you know, normally I do this more covertly when we're on our podcast, but I've got a little bit. So there's a few different things. So I guess I should sort of signify that my background is Slavic, Ukrainian, Polish, and then like a little bit of older European, but primarily that. So I do have a lot of interest in those sort of different cultures. But just honing in on the actual, like, hardcore European stuff, let's just look at, you know, gift giving and Saturnalia. So, first, we would start with the solstice, right? Like, that would be normally around, like, the 21st. The 21st is the solstice, which is the longest night of the year. And a lot of sort of pagan rites were based on, you know, the moon, the cycles, that sort of thing. Stuff that makes sense, not gift giving. So you would have that, and so originally, you know, Romans would celebrate Saturnalia. It was a pagan holiday in honor of the agricultural god Saturn, and they would spend the week like how we spend Christmas holidays today, feasting, drinking. So you find that a lot of things are harvest based. So that's the main one I'm going to start off with, is that you had a lot of that, and now like we spend a lot of money on Christmas gifts. Not all of us. It depends what group you're in. Some of our parents may, some may not. Yeah. And the idea with Saturnalia was to give gifts in the hope of bringing a bountiful harvest. So that's what it was always based on. Like, we're going to gift each other, and we're going to have a harvest and support our family for the year ahead. So that's sort of one that we can start with.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely, you know, the fact that they made it so, you know, Christ's birthday was in the winter when he was a spring baby. Mm-hmm. So they kind of changed that history around a little bit to suit, you know, the seasons, because a lot of the more Christian holidays they placed during pagan ones, so that it was easier to convert everybody to, celebrate our holiday instead. It's on the same day. Look how convenient that is. Mm-hmm.
Just keep doing what you were already doing, and, don't pay attention to this over in the corner.
Yeah, just say it's because of Christ and not Saturn, and you're good. We won't kill you then.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's great.
You do the same thing, just change one word. Well, what does it matter?
Yeah, basically. So there's definitely that one. And then one of my favorite theories, actually, is that Santa, obviously is not really related to the biblical holiday at all.
Yeah.
People oftentimes wonder, where in the world did they get, the Santa myth and story from? My favorite origin story for where he originally came from, though, is Odin. Because if you think of how he looks, you think of the season he's associated with, God, I'm blanking on the word where he goes out at night with his sleigh, and he, picks up souls and things like that throughout the world. The Wild Hunt. The cat has invaded the podcast.
I'm so happy.
We thought it'd be one of the dogs.
I'm so happy now. Yeah, you can stay here.
She's trying to escape.
Oh, no.
It's okay, you're good.
Be a part of things.
Well, Odin has the Wild Hunt. Odin has the Wild Hunt, so it's oftentimes thought that when you go on his, ride through the world, it ended up being Santa giving out presents and gifts and things, and there's other similarities between them, but that's probably one of my favorite little funny ones.
Yeah, I like that one a lot, because with the notes that I have, first of all, one kind of funny thing is bye.
The cat just left the building.
Our depiction of Santa Claus as we see him now was actually defined by Coca-Cola.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
Really shows you the commercial element of these things. But Father Christmas was a patron saint of the children and the poor and the prostitutes.
I love that.
So yeah, we love
sex
that.
Worker rights.
Watching out for the sex workers. I like it. So he was actually alive around the 4th century, and he was a generous bishop who was known for giving gifts to the poor, which is kind of cool. But yeah, even before him, they even say, another bearded old man called Odin. So you have a few different ways of which this came to be, and none of them are distinctly Christian.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're these sort of, although I guess, you can say a saint, like Saint Nicholas, but, he was a humanitarian, really, right? You have a humanitarian, you have ancient gods and stuff like that, and a lot of pagan myths coming together to create, and marketing coming together to create the Santa we know today.
Well, I think, too, as well, with certain saints, I'm not sure if it's true for St. Nicholas, but at least some of them, they weren't necessarily Christian, Catholic, etc.,
Yes.
But they were then denoted as saints after their death for doing good deeds.
Yes.
So it's very possible they could have been pagan adjacent.
and that's an important thing to point out, because that's why it's he was called this, but they would sort of claim them after the fact, right?
Yeah.
It's okay, you did all these good things, and maybe you had a light involvement in the church. We don't know how hardcore, but you might receive sainthood anyway, whether you were a religious saint or not.
Saint Holly.
Oh no, that's not happening. That's not happening.
Horns on
that's not happening. No one
I
here.
don't know. If people want to make Mother Teresa into a saint, I think anybody can make the bet. We don't know.
Yeah,
Mother
that's
Teresa's
true.
a horrible person. Look it up.
Yeah. Yes. Do it.
Gandhi as well. But yeah, definitely. There's probably a mix of different origins, and Odin kind of slid his Norse butt in there a little bit.
So interesting. You see old dudes with big beards, and you're well,
Yeah.
which one of you played into the Santa myth?
I do like that Mr. Christmas Saint Nick situation a lot more than Saint Patrick.
Yeah.
St. Patrick was a piece of shit too. That's why we won't celebrate St. Patty's Day. Look it up.
You are not allowed to have any fun. You've come here and we've told you no.
Have fun not because of them, but have fun in despite of them.
Have fun in spite of them.
Yeah.
There you go.
St. Patrick would have murdered us.
Yeah, and the snakes. So
We were the snakes.
Exactly. So Christmas carols are actually related to paganism. So I don't know if anyone listening has heard Lorena McKenna. She is a Celtic musician who was actually born in Manitoba, my home province. She's one of the few things I am proud of from that province. There's a song that she sings on her Christmas album where there's chanting where they go, wassail, wassail all over. And it's, yeah, so it's these carols where people, go to door. But the rather funny word comes from Anglo-Saxon phrase of vas hail, translating to good health. So these were pagan Celtic people who would go around roaming through villages in small groups, singing loudly, and their aim was actually to banish evil spirits by wassailing through the neighborhood. So that's our carol singing, which makes me like carols a heck of a lot more.
I agree. I think we just need to make them a little bit more punk.
Yeah.
And bring the pagan back.
Exactly.
And then I'm going to be at everyone's door like a fucking Mormon missionary. I'm going to be there like, have you heard about our Lord and Savior?
Wassail!
And then...
We'll get like a bagpipe going.
Oh yeah, just really fuck up the whole neighborhood.
Yeah. I'm down. I'm down.
You know what? If people can carol.
Is that what we're going to do tonight?
We're getting ramen.
But after Robin.
Maybe. We just need to... I don't know.
Your partner plays saxophone?
Yeah.
I feel like we could...
bass.
Yeah. Does he have a saxophone? You could...
I don't think he has a saxophone here, but he's got his acoustic.
No, okay. Okay. I feel like we could do something.
Yeah.
We just need some of that malt liquor. Anyway.
We just need to change up some... What are some Christmas Carol classic ones we can change to pagan versions? For some reason, my brain is only saying he's a jolly good fellow, and that's not even a carol.
Jolly good Krampus.
Yeah, that is good Krampus. Nobody can deny.
You need to assign that to Steven and be like, we need some punk carols. Work Krampus in. We're not the musicians here. We do other things. We do enough things. We don't have to do the music.
I know.
It's okay.
I'm so glad
we can give some initial ideas. I've tried it.
I was in a band before. I wanted to be like a rock singer. I want to be like Haley Williams.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Yeah. I thought because I got to grade 5 piano, I could do keyboards. Very different. Very different. Very different.
I thought because I was in choir, I could do rock singing.
Yeah. Well, we try.
Hey, Blast, we're trying. Yay!
Yep. Hey, is that like 2 good high fives we had today?
We did. If you guys haven't watched our other episode, it's coming out in a little bit, end of the year one, where we had another good high
They
five.
would not have watched it.
Well, when you do, you will watch it.
Yes.
You will.
You will watch it.
Yes. You will do your research.
This episode is really chaotic.
I know.
It's so chaotic.
I think we're getting so hungry.
I think so. Yeah, it's been a while. What have you eaten today? I had like leftover Indian food. That's all I've had today.
Oh, I had some yogurt and...
Oh, I did have
some
yogurt.
pasta.
I had a bit of yogurt. Yogurt and leftover Indian food.
My car kind of smells like milk again because I spilled some of my yogurt yesterday in the car while we were driving. I took out the floor mat now, though.
I did not smell it when I was in there, so my car smells like milk again. Oh my god.
For context there, my car smelled like spoiled milk and it wasn't my fault. Someone left groceries in my car.
Someone.
Yeah. An unnamed entity left shit in my car.
So we don't get into this too much because we don't want to.
Yeah,
go
just one more and go.
I'm gonna pick this because it has my name in it. Decking the halls with holly. Mistletoe wasn't the only sacred plant for pagans. Holly was another holy plant connected with the god Saturn. During the Saturnalia holiday, Romans made holly wreaths to exchange as gifts for good luck. At the time of Saturnalia, early Christians began to celebrate Christmas. However, they were often persecuted for practicing their new religion. It was lucky that Christmas coincided with Saturnalia, as it allowed Christians to harbor a cover for their Christmas celebration, which I think is a great thing to hear about because it's like you always hear about them taking over. It's like they were actually sort of getting in there and being like, we're going to take some of your stuff and try to celebrate our thing and we're going to be secretive about it.
I think that's a lot of how we actually got our traditions was either they were like, oh, hey, just do the same thing as you were already doing, and we'll just call it something else.
Absolutely.
Or people were just going, oh, you want us to celebrate that, but we're going to celebrate it our way like we already did. And then slowly it just got indoctrinated in.
Exactly.
And it was, close.
It's so funny.
Yeah. But I love deck the halls with holly. So I'm just going to, like, deck you out at holly.
Damn it.
That's again
when we walk off camera here, I'm out. She's going to push me down the stairs. I'm done. So before we get into our experience discussion, how have you always celebrated this time of year?
Well, I grew up in a Christian household, so I basically did the classic, Christmas time. My family always got way too many gifts, because they decided to try and buy our love and affection.
That's one way to do it.
And so, we'd gather around. We'd have, everyone would wake up around, 10. Oh, my cat. Bless you, Lucifer.
Hey.
My cat's name is Lucifer, for context.
Lucy.
Bless you. She has a little bit of a cold. I keep trying to, warm it up in here for her, but she...
So sweet. You're good. You got this. Just
like,
summon the old gods.
Thank you. Yes.
She's done it. That's what she just did.
Oh, hail. It's like Egypt all over again. I'll hail the cat.
I'm okay with this.
I am too. She would have been worshipped in Egypt.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, we did the classic stuff. We wake up around 10, wake our parents up who stayed up way too long at night, putting the presents out there, and eventually I joined in with them to put everything out at night. And then they do a classic Thanksgiving kind of style meal later on in the day. We'd just open gifts in the morning. We'd probably eat fudge for breakfast. And they didn't bring me any this year also for Thanksgiving. I was like, you guys just told me you ate fudge there and you fucking bring me any homemade fudge?
Wow.
I'm very upset about it. I was like,
curse them.
Christmas.
You gotta curse them.
I know, I got it. I went over there, I saw a container of fudge. I was like, oh my god, they have some left over a week after Christmas. It's gonna be a little weird. Or after Thanksgiving, they had a little bit left. I thought, open the container. It was empty. I was like, why do you have it on the dining room table? How could you?
It's like they're torturing you.
I know. I was like, I just got so hungry seeing that.
That's not the festive spirit that we're looking for.
It's not. But hopefully they'll, I'm going to add that actually on my Yule list.
Yeah.
I kept telling my mom, I'm making a Yule list.
Yes.
And tell her, I want to just bring me some fucking fudge.
Yule. Fudge. Fucking fudge.
Fucking fudge. New t-shirt. Fucking fudge.
We got 6 now. It's great.
I know. I can't wait to start wearing all of my t-shirts.
I know. I'm going to go back. We're going to do this. New Year's resolution.
Make a list of all our shirt ideas and start making them and wearing them in the episodes.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, we just do that, open up gifts, and then we spend the whole day probably fighting with each other over toys when we were little. You got what I wanted. You got what I wanted. That was the whole thing. That was about it. We didn't go anywhere, do anything. We didn't go to church or nothing. It was just consumerism.
So I was lucky because I was sort of an only child. I have 2 half-sisters who are older than me, but by a decade. So we would see each other on weekends. We didn't live together. But I didn't get that weird only child vibe because my mom was very close with her sister, so my cousins were like my siblings. Yeah. But at the same time, I still got some of the only child benefits. So I was the only one there on Christmas morning, right? And then my sisters would come over on Boxing Day or something like that, and they would get their one gift. And we did a decent amount of presents, but it was never really focused on that. And this is one of the things that I always had to explain to partners. I say as if I've had a lot. I had 1 and then my fiance. So with my 2 partners, my 2 serious partners I've had, I had to be guys, okay, we do Christmas in a huge way because my mom always goes all out. I was the kid who had the biggest, most amazing birthday parties, but it didn't really do much because I was such a loser. And that sort of continued on. It would be here's the most amazing party in the whole world. No one's showing up. So that was my thing, but I enjoyed it anyway, even though I was all alone. And Christmas.
I'll go to your birthday.
Oh, thank you. I'm doing all right now. and now I'm very happy whenever I'm alone. It's great. It worked out fine. The bullies aren't doing well, so that's the important thing. I know where they're at in life, and they're not okay. So yeah, we would have these big crazy Christmases and stuff, but like luckily I never got the consumerism vibe, because like my parents would want to give me stuff, but at the same time, like I was saying, like I would always have to explain to people, like, we do Christmas, but it's not Christmas. So we would have the tree, we would have all these things, but we would listen to Celtic music. We would always, we would do tarot readings. We would do all of this sort of older pagan stuff. And that was more of the focus. It was always about nature and all of the elements around us and sort of going into the year ahead. And so I always had this weird experience where a lot of my friends and family would see, like, oh my God, you guys have the big tree and the lights and all of this stuff. It's like, yeah, but it's Christmas, but it's not Christmas, you know? And that was always very odd for my experience. And that's generally what it was. And that's what we've continued on with today.
Yeah. It definitely sounds a little bit more like a Yule adjacent versus a Christmas, just celebrated on Christmas Day.
It was sort of like a cheat, just to say, yeah, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's Christmas, but that's not what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we basically kind of do the same thing now, except for the tarot reading. We play a little bit more like, Nordic music, and like we do celebrate on like Christmas rather than on Yule. Yeah. But Yule always lands on like a Thursday or Wednesday.
Well, that's the thing, like we decided that, actually when I was little, I'd always do solstice performances.
Oh, that's fun.
We would have a solstice celebration, the whole family, before Christmas. And now we just sort of merged it together. Yeah. So it's like a Yule solstice thing, and it's just like, well, we're just gonna do it on Christmas because why not?
Yeah.
It's easiest, like with work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited this year though. For Yule, I'm actually doing like my food tasting for the wedding. So we're gonna be up in the beautiful mountains at the time. So
that'll be great.
Try to enjoy the night and stuff too. Mm-hmm. But you said Boxing Day. That reminded me actually of a funny story. So for those who don't know, my dad's Canadian, Holly's Canadian. Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, and so can you explain what actually is Boxing Day?
So it's kind of funny because it's only in this recent year that I realized, oh, this is very Canadian, because I've been working in marketing again. I did a little while back, but it was sort of in a different area, and now it's very focused on like the seasons and stuff. So Boxing Day is our big sales day in Canada. Like we do have Black Friday now. It's gotten there. But since we have a different Thanksgiving and stuff like that, what used to be our biggest sales day was Boxing Day. So people would do Christmas. So Christmas Eve was usually like a big thing. Christmas Day, then you'd do something with family. And then the next day, Boxing Day, the 26th, you would wake up, you would be like, all right, I'm going to eat some leftovers and I'm going to get to the mall, which the last thing you would want to do, right? Like, in my mind, that's the last thing you would want to do. I've never done Boxing Day in my entire life, but a lot of people, that's their thing. They party Christmas Eve, they have sort of a wholesome Christmas Day, and then Boxing Day, they get up and they're like, all right, off we go, and it's like full-on Black Friday. So that is what Boxing Day is in Canada.
That's so funny, and now I'm wondering if my father lied to me twice about what Boxing Day is.
Oh no,
because I know he lied to me once. From what he told me.
Why does Boxing Day need one, let alone two lies?
Okay, so what he ended up telling me, this is what I thought was the truth until right now, because that's why I asked you just to double check, so I didn't say anything. So he told me that basically Boxing Day, at least in its original form, was the day when, like after you got your gifts, you would box up the things you didn't like to like go return them or exchange them with people.
That might be involved.
Okay,
maybe,
so I'm right.
Maybe,
okay,
maybe.
So that's what I ended up finding out it was, and
with the actual term. Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah, and it sounds like probably when my dad grew up and he was in Canada, that's probably what it actually was.
Right.
And now it's a little bit more like
because
he was old. But what he told me instead, when I was a child, was that Boxing Day was the day that you boxed your family. And so, like...
Yeah, that's not it.
You go and do some boxing.
Yeah, that's not it. That's not it.
He would pit all of us kids against each other in, like, a ring. And, like, we would, like... fight, because he taught us like self-defense stuff, so we'd like flip each other around. Like my brother was into WWE, so he would like get us on his shoulder and then like us down like that and everything. We would have put like a mattress on the floor and stuff, so it didn't hurt like crazy. But we just like fuck each other up the day after Christmas. It got to the point where literally we had like multiple, like we literally lived in like a hoarder house, so this is why this is like this. But we had a big backyard, and we just had tons of mattresses back there because no one ever threw anything away. And so my brother just took a bunch of these mattresses and just put them around and like put stakes in the ground and like rope. So we had like a WWE thing in our backyard, and he would invite friends over the day after Christmas to go like beat them up in the backyard in the WWE ring. And like they put like floodlights, the whole 9 yards. Like
Oh, honey.
So I thought for years this was just what it was. It was like, okay, the day after Christmas, it's WWE time. We had popcorn. We watched them start fighting.
Have you watched Trailer Park Boys?
No, but that sounds like my childhood.
That's what we're doing tomorrow. We're watching the Trailer Park Boys Christmas special. I swear you are gonna be.
Is it exactly what I'm describing?
Oh my god, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Someone saw my childhood and wrote about it and made it into a script.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this. Finding out I'm just absolute trash. I got picked on as a child being called trailer park trash too, even though I lived in a house. But I was like, you know what? Now that I'm an adult, I can see the comparison.
Hey, trailer parks are awesome. One of my best childhood memories in Canada, like when we knew this comic artist who he does all the art for Game of Thrones now and all of their like illustrated books. He's incredible. He lived in a trailer out in the country, and anytime there was going to be like a meteor shower or something, we would drive up and we're like, we're going to go see Doug, and we'd go stay at Doug's place, and we would like look out on his his telescope. So like I have great memories from trailer parks.
Yeah, no, I think trailer parks are
amazing.
Yeah, trailer parks, especially like in modern days, they're really
and in
cool
Canada,
actually.
yeah, they're great.
I totally own one.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But there's a difference between a trailer park and trailer park trash energy.
Yeah.
Because that's a different breed. We lived in a house.
Yeah.
Like a 5-bedroom house. And it had trailer park energy. Like trailer trash park energy.
Yeah.
Like, my whole family had like white wife beaters.
We're gonna delve into the Canadian. We might maybe like film your reactions while we watch Trailer Park Boys. I think that could be a thing.
Okay, let's put that here. Editing Jenna here, and I'm just here to say we did watch Trailer Park Boys, and that was in fact my childhood. So I'm shook, but not surprised.
Anyway,
here goes here. Yeah. Okay, but we should transition instead of from my childhood trauma, instead into our newly developed trauma from yesterday.
My trauma.
Yeah, specifically Holly's. So, for context, we had 11 hours yesterday where we tried to do basically as much of LA as we possibly could.
I think it was like 13.
Not even 13. It was like from 7 to 10 p.m.
Yeah. And we...
Someone do the math.
Yeah. We tried to figure out, like, where we were going to go, and, I mean, we knew what direction we wanted to go in, which was the spooky direction. And, like, I wanted to see the Queen Mary, so we went on the Queen Mary. You had not seen it, which is perfect. So it was like, okay, great. We're both seeing this, for the first time. We went to the Museum of Death. You had not seen the new one, so that was great. Like, everything worked out so that, I wasn't just, like, dragging you along to do things.
Yeah, the things that I'd already done. No, it was definitely, like, I hadn't done the Queen Mary before, but I always wanted to. I always thought it was way too expensive, but then I actually looked at tickets.
It was alright, yeah.
I looked at tickets, and I was like, I haven't done this my whole fucking life.
Yeah.
And I'm right here.
Although now we know how to, like, sneak in and give ourselves our own tour.
Yeah, exactly. They don't charge you for parking, which I found out. I was so happy.
Yeah, it was good.
And you don't get a charge for entry. You just get a charge if you want to do, like, a tour or something. Mm-hmm. So you can literally just walk around and hang out on the Queen Mary, which, if I ever write, like, a sea-related book, I'm just going to write in there.
Yeah, I mean, I want to just go and sit outside of 340 and just write, like, and get possessed and see what happens. So we did that, and then we went to Black Star Canyon, which was your suggestion, because you had heard some stories from a few people. Yeah, so I'd heard that it was really, really creepy, and my friend who went, we didn't know any of the stories about it, and then he looked it up after he'd been there, and he already thought it was creepy. And then, there's the friend right now, I'm not going to show the camera to him, but he just came down. And so, we went down there and just to kind of experience it. We talked about it in a past episode. There's supposed to be SKs, the Skin Boys. Windy Boys. And the Windy Boys. Yeah. Those two things are supposed to be down there. La Llorona is supposed to be over there, which is like the woman in white, the wailing woman by the water. And that was really the only experience we had. Everything else was pretty tame. It was just really dark in this canyon.
and we'll insert some footage and everything as we go.
Mm-hmm.
But Holly did have an experience with either La Llorona or one of her children. So
yeah. So, and the weirdest thing about it is I'm usually the person who doesn't have experiences, so I'm kind of used to that. But at the same time, we were talking about this last night, and every experience I have had is related to children. It's so uncomfortable. So like I'm not a kid person. Like I'm not someone who's gonna have kids. Like that's just not been my jam. But kids are attracted to me, whether they're alive or dead. And like when I've always had interesting hair colors and stuff like that. So when I walk down the street, the kids walk past me and they're like, oh, they say something to me, and I'm always like, oh, hello, and they always connect with me. And apparently that's the same thing with ghosts somehow. So and I won't go into this too long, and I think I've talked about this in other episodes, but like when I was younger and I was maybe like 8 years old, I had an experience where we heard marbles rolling across the floor in the house that we were living in. I heard it, my mom heard it. My dad is a spiritual dampener, so when he showed up, it stopped. But we had a friend who was very in tune, and when she went up, she was like, yeah, there was a little boy up here, and he passed away. And then we actually learned 100%, yes, there was a little boy who passed away in that house, and he would roll marbles around. So we had that, and another one of my like strong experiences was when I was at this cholera cemetery in Montreal, where it's hidden now, and you just sort of see like little icons for it when you walk around the park, but it's a whole cholera cemetery, and one section of it was the children's cemetery. So when I went there, we had all our EMF, etc. tools, and there was a little girl who absolutely locked onto me, and she wanted to walk around with me, and I was like, yeah, cool, let's walk around for a little bit. Another part of the cemetery, there's a serial killer who was buried there. So of course, when we got to the serial killer, the little girl was like, not too into this. And I told her, I'm like, please go back to where you were before. I'm going to move on. Great meeting you, etc. So all that to say, I have experience with children. So we get to this like shoulder of the highway. It's pitch black, and we got out, we're like, oh, it's cold, it's not that comfortable. None of us were like super, wanting to just run off places, right? We were just kind of like, we want to do this, but it's cold and we're uncomfortable.
So I think we were saying we were driving towards Black Star Canyon and everything, and my goal was eventually to get towards the water because it's a conductor and because we had started in La Llorona, and it seemed like the easiest place for us to get since it was nighttime and most of the park trails were closed, as we found out. We ended up actually finding like a Christmas festival going on. Yeah. That was really cool.
We had this option where it's like, oh, look how wholesome this is. We could go here instead. And they're like, no, let's just go off on the highway.
Yeah, we were like, do we go to the dark scariness or do we just stay at
dark scariness?
Maybe we can go back to the wholesome crowd.
We should.
Totally. They had like hot cocoa bounce houses.
That's so nice. They had like a little train.
Never heard of this place before.
Yeah. Lots of lights.
But yeah, so I was trying to get us towards the water, but I realized, okay, the gate for everything is closed. I don't think we're going to be able to get in there, so we pulled to the side of the road. And I did not realize that we were right in front of the bridge that went over the river. So we parked over there, and we didn't know we were so close to the water at that point in time. And then Holly had a great old fun time. I think that happened.
So like, I'm used to not having experiences, and okay, I'm not giving you enough attention. Okay, I'm sorry.
She said belly rubs as you talk.
So anyway, I started off, it was kind of cold, and I was like, oh yeah, it's a little cold out. I've got my sweater. I'm just going to start walking at like the EMF. We had some lights. We were all sort of just like figuring out what was going on. And I just had this sudden sort of draw of confidence to just be like, okay, I can go off. I'm going to go this direction. And I just saw this direction, which sort of went kind of down this hill. And I started going off, and I was like, yeah. And we got maybe like 6 feet apart or something. It wasn't that far, but like the second I was truly detached from you guys, I just heard humming. And it was like, and the weird thing is, like, when we connected again, I told you what the tune was. I hummed it, and I've forgotten it now. It's very weird, but it was something like, like it was. I know it was 4 notes, and it was very clear. It was definitely not something that came from a car, because first of all, the cars were not going by in that moment, and second, like, if we had it, would have been sort of a weird sound, like you wouldn't have heard it that clear. It was extremely clear, like right beside me. It was not you. It was not Steven. And then I was just like, oh shit, like something just happened. Something feels like it's calling me, and I don't want to keep going this way. And I just like directly turned around, and the main thing that I knew was like, I can't talk about this right now. And that was the weirdest thing. I just felt like I cannot say anything about this until I'm safe in a vehicle. So I just turned back. I was like, hey guys, something happened. I have to go back. They're like, wait, what? What? You guys are like, what? Because it was just out of nowhere. Because, like, you didn't hear it. For me, it was just like, it was this sudden thing and you didn't hear it at all.
Well, no, from our perspective, you actually were quite far away from us. So you were at least, like, from where we are here to, like, the kitchen wall over there where the aprons are.
Okay. Like, I didn't even know I was that far.
You were walking
I
fast.
thought it was maybe
I was like,
I didn't think I was that fast, and I thought maybe I was like 5 feet ahead.
No, you were pretty far up. And the crazy thing was from our, sorry, the dog's going nuts behind the camera. But the crazy thing was from our perspective is that we were just walking, following you at a normal pace. You were kind of like speed walking ahead of us, and you were like, okay, Holly senses something, or go fetch. Like, you know, you're over there. We're like still cold, trying to stick closer to the car and everything, because we also had Katara with us, and Katara was in the car whining.
And she, like, when we first got out, we were like, she senses something.
She jumped out of the car,
like, and she was like looking around. It was very clear she thought something was around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was our first sign, for sure.
Yeah. And so it was funny though, because I had the camera, and the flashlight, and I was filming towards you, your back, as you were walking away. And then I like panned over to the bushes because I was like, oh shit, I just heard something in the bush.
Yeah,
like
it happened at the same time. You and Steven both heard something.
And then you started bolting towards us as soon as I turned away from you. So I was like, oh fuck, like, and then you were like, no, I gotta get in the car. I was like, oh shit, like my mind was either like, okay, either it's a cryptid, like a chupacabra or something, or an SK or a windy boy or something like that. Or there was like a bear or a coyote or something. Yeah. So we were just talking about coyotes in the area.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't want to see a dog that's not mine. And so we got in the car, and then you started saying humming, and I was like, oh shit, like, are we by water?
So this was the funniest thing, because I both perspectives of this are like interesting. So I knew that we had mentioned water before, but I wasn't very aware of it, and I didn't know like where we were or anything like that. And the only thing you had mentioned was water being a conduit. You had mentioned the name of the ghost, but nothing specific about like hauntings at all. So like I didn't know any specific thing that had happened. So we like run off, we get in the car, and once I was in the car, like I can't explain it. Like I only felt okay talking about it once we were there and like in a secure space, which was very weird. And I was like, okay, so guys, I heard humming. It was like, and it was like very clear right beside me, definitely like a little girl humming, and no explanation for this. And it wasn't even then. We went driving around for a little bit, and later on you told me, you're like, okay, so this ghost, she had children. Yeah. So tell the story.
So I think I had assumed, because La Llorona, at least for us, is such a popular story, that you would know it too.
Nope.
And Holly had no idea. So for me, that's like just a story you grew up hearing here, and it makes sense because we have a large Mexican population. Steven's Mexican, so like it makes sense that like we know the story here a lot. And so I figured like you knew too, and you didn't ask about it, so I just figured like you knew. And when I looked on the map, I was like, oh, we're by a river, that makes sense. It's probably La Llorona or one of her children, right? And then later on as we're driving, I told her like, oh, the actual story of La Llorona, which if you don't know is basically this woman drowned her children, her little boy and little girl in the river, and now she wears white and she haunts the rivers. And you can hear her and her kids humming to lure you into the water. And Holly had this compulsion to go in this direction that she didn't even know had the creek in it. And none of us knew that we pulled over by this creek. We were like kind of lost, right? And then you got pulled towards it and then started hearing the humming, and you went, absolutely not the fuck.
Any of that.
And you didn't know shit. That's why I was like, fuck. She there. She's at that one. And no. we left.
Yeah, we knew, like, okay, if we actually went down there, if it was open, if we could have accessed it, we would have gone, like, straight down to the water. It was actually quite close.
Yeah, if you had gone, like, 10 more feet, you'd been in the creek. And so you were really close to the water at that point, and we didn't realize it.
I had absolutely no idea.
Yeah, because literally we stopped and we pulled over because I saw like these railings on the road, and you know it's like mountains, so you don't always think that it's a bridge, but not necessarily a bridge over a river. It might be just a like an indentation in the ground, and it might not be a full creek. This was a full creek that detached from the lake we were trying to get to, and it was a rather big bridge, which it's so dark we couldn't even tell at that point. Oh, she's desperate to play tug of war. And so we had that experience, and we kind of just drove around the rest of the time trying to get the EMF to go off or something, and we didn't end up getting much else. It was creepy mostly because it was dark, but I think and the EMF and stuff didn't go off. So I think we thought we were gonna get some stuff more ghost-wise, but this story and this place mostly has tales regarding either La Llorona, which is more of a spirit, or more cryptids, which we would have to have different equipment to even pick up on that. We would have had to go outside the car, and we didn't want to do that because it's cold and dark.
But at the same time, though, the really interesting thing that I think we took from this was we had a general feeling of the area and things that had happened there because there was a history. And we would get these little blips on the EMF, and we were very clear, like we were very careful about, okay, we know what happens when a phone gets in proximity of the EMF. We know what's going to set it off, and we tested it, and we're like, okay, if the phone's here, that's what's going to set it off. Let's put it over here, stuff like that. So we understood. So when we did actually get actual readings that we understood, it was in situations that we served. It made sense. But at the same time, like, it was such a strange area, and I think we have a lot of footage, like a fair amount of footage that we can put in here that you'll see. It just had a vibe.
Yeah.
It had a vibe, right? Like, it was a kind of racist area. Things that happened there. There had been, not great stuff going on in that area, and you could really tell. So when we did get spirits that came out, they were sort of like, bip, bip. It was just sort of like a blip, like little hello, and then running away. And you could tell that. And we had those a few times on and off as we were driving through. But the weirdest one, so like most of them would sort of like reach out very quickly and then disappear. And we'd try to talk to them. We'd always stop and be like, hey, do you want to talk? Nothing at all. But as once we made the decision where we're like, all right, we're done. We're going to head out of here. We're on our way home. We weren't quite out of the area, but we were like on our way out of the area. We were almost we were very close. We were almost at what you would call like the perimeter of that zone, right? Yeah. And we started talking about the little girl spirit that I heard. And suddenly the EMF went flash, 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 flash. We're like, whoa. And we had to stop. So we stopped. We're like, wait, we have to deal with this right now because we were almost out of that area, right? And like, if you have a ride along, you don't want to go out of that area. It's like, shit, we need to stop right now and deal with what is happening. So we tested. Like, you held up your phone. Steven held up his phone. We were like, wait, let's just see. Was this an accident? Did something happen? But no. Suddenly, as we were on our way out, we had these spiritual little like bursts, and we said like, are you with us? Like, did you come on board? Like, did you come into the car? And it would flash. So we got the reaction. Like, as far as we can tell, this spirit that I heard humming, this is our best guess, the humming spirit came into the car and wanted to stay with us. So we were all in kind of a weird state because the area was weird. Like, we all felt kind of sick, right? Like, you felt sick at that point. Steven did too, and I was kind of like plugged up, but I was like, no, we have to deal with this right now. And I just told them, I was like, hey, we don't have a problem with you. We have no problem with you. And I was like, oh my God, how do I word this? Like, you're great. We'll visit you again sometime, but you absolutely cannot come home with any of us. Like, you're not coming home with any human in this car. That's it. You have to stay here. I'm so sorry. Maybe you don't want to be here, but like, you're not coming with us. you are staying here. That is it. The end. And then we tested as we were heading out, and thankfully we didn't get anything else, so they stayed. And last night I had an alright night. There was nothing weird.
Yeah.
I don't. You guys were alright. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we almost had a tag along.
I think we almost did too, and
Yeah.
You had a great handling of it. You know, you
thank
spoke really
you.
well. I literally
I didn't know what to say. I
As
was
soon
like,
as
oh god.
Steven was like, "Is the little girl here with us?" and the thing went off, I was like, "No."
I know, you like froze.
I got aggressive. I was like, "No, no, no," and then you were very politely telling it to like go, and then the reading stopped. So I was like, "Okay, we're cool." But I need to keep my cool a little bit more if that happens again.
No, like that was the thing too, because I was like, my immediate reaction was to be like, go away. and I stopped. But the funny thing is, that's not usually my reaction. Like there were weird things going on there, and I was just like, I need to hone it in and be like, we're good.
Yeah.
We like you. No. Just no.
Like you're
stay.
times. We
Bye.
saw you, we visited. Now
Yeah, we heard your little song. Goodbye. Yeah.
So editing Jenna here again. We didn't leave exactly a great spot open to add this footage, so I'm gonna add it here, and we'll just kind of. This is the first time I'm going through it with you guys right before posting this. So let's see what we find or hear.
Yeah, it is really pitch dark. My camera can't pick up anything.
You don't have the night vision set or anything?
No, I just got the flashlight. Hi, Ra.
Very interested in something in those bushes.
I know, but there's like a, I don't know, I guess the fence, yeah, the fence is back there.
I mean, we could even sit in the car with a light on and see.
Well, I want to try and get some good B-roll. There's Holly. Yeah, maybe we could just put the windows down. But I want to try and get some creepy footage. Oh, already? Already we have shit.
Like, it does not want to.
Maybe it's just not charged, or?
It was full when I left. Like, I haven't used it. How are you? Oh, okay. EMF is active.
It's not reading
Seems
anything.
pretty chill so far.
Yeah, we should definitely walk around with
Yeah,
that
we
one,
can
though.
walk around with this at the very least.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe we could even... Why won't you turn on? You are fine. I know you are fine. You were fine when I left. So, it's so weird. Like, it's got its batteries.
See that? What's that?
And this would be good out here because sometimes it can get interrupted by things like Wi-Fi. Like a Wi-Fi box.
Yeah.
It'll react to it. But out here there isn't anything for it to react to.
Okay.
Other than the paranormal.
Convenient.
Yes. So I'm not getting like a lot of vibes personally here.
Yeah, no.
Not like on the Queen Mary.
Yeah, no.
There were vibes there. There was choking feeling, like kind of, you know, the claustrophobic feeling.
Yeah. I mostly just feel cold.
Yeah, that's the thing. Here I'm cold, and like the only is just because it's so dark.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if there's paranormal, if there's cryptid type activity, it's not anything an EMF is going to pick up, I would say.
Yeah, so at least no ghosts, but
Yeah.
maybe cryptids?
Okay, didn't like that.
Oh, what happened?
Didn't like that.
You
I'll
started
have to
running
go
just
back-
just as I heard something in the bushes, you started running.
Yeah. I will tell you in a minute.
Okay.
Like, genuinely did not like that. And just as I switched this off, it went to the second light.
Oh, crap. That was literally like at the same time I turned my lights and turned away from you to go in the bush.
Shiver up my spine right now.
Oh shit.
Like saying anything, right?
No.
We heard something in the bushes.
You didn't make like a single sound?
No.
Okay, you didn't hum?
No.
Ugh.
You heard humming?
Yeah, like
Oh,
very
no.
clear. I went over there and I heard, like it was right when I went ahead and separated myself from you guys. And it was right when I went ahead and separated from myself from you guys, and I heard
No.
no, it was like there was a little girl on the road. It was just like someone near. I didn't see anything. Just like that tune, and I went no, not going any further. That's it. And then right when I was going to turn this off, it went to the second light.
Okay, so potentially actually ghosts.
Potentially. Is there a little girl here? If there is a little girl, I think she's as timid as I was. Oh.
Maybe we should go outside.
Oh.
What?
Because I know you're right and I don't want to.
We could drive up a bit further to where it was.
It was like within like the weeds or something like that, and I think as we approached it went that way. I think it got scared off.
Yeah. Okay, is anyone here with us now?
I think it was a very timid spirit because we're like,
Oh,
Mhm.
are you not timid? If you're not timid, speak to us.
you can use this as well if you prefer it. Can you turn the lights on?
Oh, you know what's really creepy too is that little ledge down there where you were walking goes to the creek. Water.
It was La fucking Llorona.
The Santiago Creek. Well, it sounded like a child, so it'd be one of her children.
Who?
It's like the woman in white, like the girl
Oh yeah.
who drowned
Does
her.
she have children?
Yeah, the girl who drowned her children.
Oh, okay. It was definitely like a female child.
Yeah.
And oh, that's actually weird if you think about it, because the other times I have actually had a connection with a spirit, it was children both times.
That was our experience at Black Star Canyon. I think definitely going back there with a little bit like during the day with more like cryptid related stuff might be cool, but I wasn't fully expecting Ghosty Ghost La Llorona. That's the one I didn't want to fuck with.
Yeah.
And we fucked with her.
Yeah.
But don't fuck La Llorona.
She stayed.
Yeah,
She stayed.
her kids stayed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think that's it for this episode.
Happy holidays!
Yeah, I hope you're thoroughly spooked out for your Christmas, your Yule,
I
your
hope so,
Hanukkah, your Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode. We'll be doing another one where we're here together physically for the new year. So, she'd pause. We'll be here for the next one. So catch you guys in that one.
See you in 2024.
Bye.
Bye.